Hello everyone and welcome back to the Property Podcast Today show. I'm your host Lee Dahill and today we've got Ric Dawson on the show, the CEO of Alto Software Group. We're going to talk about the things you've read in our beautiful Today publications and also the future. But before we do anything useful, I would like Ric to do some background, tell us a bit about your journey, the industry and what's led you here. So I'm going to pass over to Ric and tell us your introduction.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, so firstly, thanks for having me.
No problem at all.
Yeah, a little bit about me. Well, I suppose property's in my blood, really. I come from a property background. That's all I've ever done, really. My dad's a builder, so
Yep.
I grew up around construction sites.
Yep.
I worked as a labourer most of my summers growing up. Forced. No, I'm only joking. I wasn't forced, but yeah, a little bit of forced. And then after school, I went on to train as an architect and a planner. Did a bit of urban design, and then after uni, I worked for the biggest design firm in the world for a few years. A business called Gensler. They're American, but worked in central London, and worked on some unbelievable transformation projects like Facebook's head office, Shanghai Tower, the second tallest building in the world, the GCHQ building, just some unbelievable large scale projects. And then after that, I moved into the commercial side of the industry and actually became a sales and marketing director for a house builder.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just looking after the sales and the marketing. It was looking after the sort of entire user experience of the systems that were powering it as well. And that's where I started working closely with some of the biggest agents in the country. So would work a lot with JLL, with KFH, with Savills, and obviously dozens of local agents all over the country. And through that, I saw just how critical agents are to the success of these schemes, but also just how often they're let down by the tools that they're given to work with. And ultimately, after the back of that, that's what led me to found Yorkies, which I started in 2017, which is, for those who don't know, is a platform focused on streamlining sales progression. And ultimately, that was born out of frustration. I sort of knew that there had to be a better way to manage the post-offer journey. And I grew that business from scratch over 3 years to around 40 people, which was then acquired by Zoopla in 2021. And, through that, I sort of saw firsthand how powerful tech can be when it's built with agents and not just for them. And that, as a slight segue, is the mindset that I'm bringing to Alto. And, I've seen what good looks like, and I've also seen where prop tech often goes wrong by getting too caught up in the features and sometimes its own hype, and losing sight of the end user. And so, look, my mission now with Alto is to make it the most agent-centric CRM on the market. To really invest in removing friction, saving time, and ultimately just supporting agents in doing what they're doing best, which is, as I've seen, building relationships, closing deals. And like I say, that's what's driven my whole career so far, and that's what's brought me here.
Thank you. I think that's a very good start and very good overview of background and where we are. I think that leads quite nicely onto my sort of first question, really, on the sort of the big news, really, that obviously you've seen we've had some changes, and I know that you're sort of stepping in at that CEO pivotal moment for Alto, in the sense of bringing on Derek O'Carroll, Nick Shaw, with these new approaches within the sort of leadership trio. How will things differ from what agents have seen in the past from Alto?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I suppose, firstly, I'm incredibly proud to lead this amazing team of people that really care about the industry. I'm really excited about this new chapter for Alto because, you know, exactly as you say, Lee, we're not just tweaking around the edges here. This is a full reset. It really is a new chapter. And you know what ties all this together is sort of what I was alluding to in the intro. The agent will be at the center of everything that we do. And like you say, you know, we've brought in some pretty exceptional people to help drive that. So Derek, who you mentioned, he led Bright Pearl from early stage to an eventual exit to Sage. And then Nick Shaw, who was Bright Pearl's CRO, he's joined to lead our go-to-market and customer success teams. And you know, these guys are world-class operators who really know what it takes to build powerful customer-first platforms at scale. So we're incredibly happy and proud to have these guys on board. In terms of what it changes, it's all about bringing just a much sharper focus to Alto. Like I've said, the goal is crystal clear. We want to be known as the best CRM for estate agents, not just the biggest, but the most intuitive, the most helpful, you know, the most valuable platform on the market to our customers. And so how I think things will change tangibly, I think it's three things. So first, we're stripping back the complexity. You know, we're very aware. Estate agency is fast paced and high pressure, and agents don't have the time to wrestle with clunky systems. And so we're making Alto faster, simpler, and just more intuitive to use, because the aim of the game here is that the tech fades into the background and an agent can just get on with their job. The second point is around accelerating innovation. And, you know, that means shorter development cycles, more agent input. And this is really, really important, more agent input into what gets built, and just building a real sense of momentum. And you know, off the back of this, you'll start to see updates landing faster with a lot clearer comms about what's new, what's coming, and why it matters. That's really important to us. And then lastly, you know, we're completely rethinking how we show up for our customers. So we're going to be more transparent, we're going to be more responsive, and more open in how we engage. You know, we're not just here to push features, we're really here to listen, to learn, and ultimately drive and deliver meaningful improvements that make life easier at a branch level. And you know, this really isn't about gimmicks or buzzwords. It's like I say, it's about building the most trusted, effective, and agent focused CRM in the UK. So the major point to land from me is, if you're an Alto customer, or if you've used us in the past but perhaps have drifted away, you know, now's the time to take another look. We're really serious about this next chapter, and we're only just getting started, and there's a lot of exciting things to come from us.
Rick, I think that's a great way to answer that question. And I like all the things you're saying from the perspective of the customer centric, them being put as the focus, changing that and making them a part of that. And I like the idea of, you know, being agent led by speaking to agents and seeing what they need and what their requirements are. So all those things sound really good for the future. So I want to talk a bit about that, actually, around the sort of current climate. You know, I feel a little bit like agents are under pressure, tighter margins, growing regulations, tech fatigue. How will this leadership change actually making life easier for the agents on the ground?
Yeah, it's absolutely the right question. You know, it's a tough market right now. You know, we definitely don't take that lightly. Agents are under real pressure in many ways. You know, costs are rising. The regulatory landscape seemingly keeps shifting, and we've got renters' rights coming in. We've got trading standards, we've got changes in regulations around payment processing and AML. Consumer expectations are higher than ever. You know, the people that are buying and selling and renting and the next generation of landlords are, you know, 50% of the global workforce are millennials. They're the ones born with iPads in their hands. So their expectation around digital processes and the way that we deal with the real estate processes is a lot higher. And then, as you sort of mentioned, on top of that, there's this constant flood of new tools and tech, you know, most of which promise the world, and you know, some of which under deliver, and it's exhausting being an agent. So, you know, when we talk about what's changing at Alto, it's sort of back to what I was saying about what the core of it is for us. We're here to make agents' lives easier, and it's not just with big ideas. It's actually about practical improvements that they'll actually feel in their day to day. And you know, within that, we know that agents don't need more noise. They don't need another shiny dashboard that they'll never use. You know, what they need, we think, is software that just works, software that removes friction from their daily operations and helps them do the things that they need to do to run their businesses, win more instructions, manage their pipeline better, and close faster. And you know, that's exactly where we're focusing. It's really about going back to the fundamentals and sharpening those fundamentals. So faster workflows, cleaner UX, smarter automation. This is a big thing that we're really going to be leaning into. Stronger, deeper integrations with the right partners that cover the right parts of an agent's workflow that they really care about. So, you know, that for our customers, if we get that right, should mean less time spent duplicating data between systems, lots of reduction in manual chasing, less clicking around to find what you need, and again, back to this point, more time spent doing what agents do best, building relationships, solving problems, and getting deals done. So, look, a couple of I suppose tangible examples in that. You know, what we're trying to do at the moment, a big focus is around onboarding. You know, we're streamlining how quickly new users can get up and running. We are discussing this concept of task management. How can we leverage AI to build smarter prompts and nudges to help agents stay ahead of their day, so that they're not just buried in the admin. And you know, with things like lettings compliance and sales progression, our roadmap is just full of practical enhancements that should make the process smoother without agents needing to lift a finger. And you know, it's okay delivering this stuff, but what we are committing to do is upping our game around communication of this stuff as well. You know, we believe Alto is the best CRM for estate agents, and it's why, you know, you alluded to it before, but it's why over 35% of the market relies on it. But you know, it's fair to say that we've not always done the best job of showing that. So what you can expect is much more transparency from us, you know, clearer product updates, more opportunities for feedback, and just a stronger partnership between our team, what we're delivering, and the industry as a whole. Because our job as a tech partner is to simplify, not complicate. So, you know, I keep coming back to this point, but it's really important. We want Alto to be the most valuable tool in an agent's business. And that's all about deeper capability with less clutter and better support when you need it, and a platform that ultimately delivers the ROI that you can actually feel. So, long-winded answer, Lee, but you know, you asked the question, what will this leadership change drive, and hopefully you're getting a sense of some of that in there. But it's absolutely not just about a rebrand or a new slogan. It's really about getting laser focused on what matters to agents and delivering it faster, better, and more consistently than we've ever done before.
I think it's a good line there in the vision of most valuable tool in an agent's business. I think that's a very good vision to have, and try and aspire to. You've talked about sharpening the focus and accelerating innovation, but many agents feel CRM platforms often over-promise and under-deliver. How will Alto avoid that trap and ensure these updates bring real, tangible impact at branch level? Another good question for you.
Yeah, and it's again, look, it's the right question to ask, particularly
Yep.
with our scale. Estate agents deserve a CRM that actually delivers on the promises made, and does the reason that agents buy a CRM. It's there to transform how they work. It's there to save them time, effort, and help boost their bottom line. It's absolutely not just features for the sake of features, but it's genuinely got to make a difference in the areas that they need it to. And all I can do is show a commitment to building the best platform for estate agents, one that evolves with their needs. And the proof of that will be in the tasting, I suppose. But like I say, coming back to what we're committing to deliver, it's about faster product updates, more integrations, better customer service. But one thing that is really tangible, and the thing that we're really doubling down on is a sort of methodology for how we decide internally on what to focus our roadmap on. We call this the jobs of work approach. So this is about really understanding what the customer employs your product to do for them. So we've done a bunch of analysis on our product, and there are 47 jobs of work that we talk about. So like I say, these are jobs, things that agents buy our product to do for them. And then what we do is apply a layer of analytics to look at and establish, using data, what the biggest pain points are, and then how do we fix them as fast as possible. So we might look at one of those jobs of work, and it's getting a higher than normal support tickets being asked about it, in comparison to the number of clicks that it takes to complete